Good evening and welcome to Chromatic Chimera, the channel where everything is made up and the XP never matters. Tonight we have our Table Talkies interview talk show, and we have a very special guest tonight that I'm super excited to talk to. We have Akinji Entertainment. So thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I'm very, very excited to talk to you about your game Cataclysm.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, this is awesome.
So a quick introduction, if you've never heard of Akinji Entertainment before, so tonight I have Shrez Sheikh and Brent Logan, who are the creators and co-founders of Akinji Entertainment, a game company from Toronto, Canada. Their goal with Akinji Entertainment is to bring you fun, exciting, and visually stunning tabletop RPG and board games. So I hope you guys are as excited to talk about Cataclysm as I am.
We're always ready to talk.
I'm always
Listen,
ready, yeah.
We're always ready to talk about Cataclysm. That goes without saying.
So, right before we went live, we were actually talking a little bit about like how I discovered you guys. So I did a stream of Cataclysm with some friends at another stream called Roll the Roll with the GM's name was Timmy, who was someone you guys remembered. And I think they maybe had a player fall through or something, so they put out a call for people like, do you like cats? Do you want to play a cat? And I said, oh, absolutely, I want to play a cat. So I jumped into this stream, had no idea what I was doing, and they're like, what kind of cat do you want to play? And I'm flipping through the book, and I'm like, okay, we've got Sphinx cats, definitely want to be a naked cat, cool. And oh, we got fat cats, I want to be a fat naked cat. So I played a fat Sphinx cat named Garbage.
Amazing. I love it.
Wonderful.
Garbage. I'm so sad I don't get to play Garbage anymore, but Garbage has a special place in my heart.
That's great.
Yeah. It was a really good time, and I'm honestly super sad that the group kind of fell apart. I would love to play more of it. Maybe we'll bring it here. Keep your eyes open.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
So before we kind of get into things, a quick little icebreaker question for you. So you're TTRPG creators, so I would like to feel that it's kind of safe to assume that you're a bit of nerds yourself. So when did your journey into nerddom start, and what was your gateway?
I'm gonna defer to you because you're older.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the older one. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, it started very young. I think I was maybe 8. I had older cousins who were playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I was very intrigued. So you could just imagine that young kid trying to see what his older cousins are doing, and kind of imposing myself on their their private time, and I fell in love with what they were doing, and I really just was so enamored by it that I went home and actually, even before knowing what the rules were or what, I invited friends over and we literally did something like a home brew D&D, like whatever I saw in the 2 or 3 hours that we created it with our own rules and everything, and I think my cousins were so impressed that my cousin who Ali, who was like the DM, he basically gave Dungeon Master's Guide. Like he basically gave it to me, and so we were already playing for like a couple of weeks with this, makeshift homebrew rules, like just completely like creator. So we had the theme, we just didn't have the rules, right? So we made up our own rules, and then all of a sudden we get the rules, and we were like, over the next few weeks was basically trying to port over our homebrew that we had created and make it more sort of with aligned with the original rules. So this would be like the original TSR Gary Gygax Dungeons and Dragons, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
Wow.
And I read that book religiously. Like I would, so you can imagine 10-year-old reading that book and reading about all kinds of things. Like there's a section on like insanities and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm like reading this
Everything's
stuff,
in that book. Yeah.
and I honestly think that's how I learned how to read. Was just reading the Dungeon Master, and about all kinds of bizarre things. Maybe things that maybe a 10-year-old shouldn't be reading about, you know. But yeah, that was it. I was bit, and so yeah,
That's
definitely 10 years old. My gateway, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, original rules. Yeah, and
actually, from your story, it almost seems to me like you were a game designer almost before you started.
yeah. Well, yeah, because see, the thing is, I saw what was going on. I saw people rolling dice. I saw people playing different classes, and just from that little bit, I went home and with my friends, we basically created classes. Some of them lined up nicely with the actual rules. Some of them were not, completely out of our own imaginations. Races.
Races.
Wow.
And we only had 6-sided dice, so it was a D6 system
yeah,
without even knowing what that
without
was,
knowing
right?
what
Yeah,
that
so
was.
yeah,
Roll a d6.
You
That's
raid the Monopoly.
crazy.
With all the
Yeah, that's
6-sided,
what we used to do. Yahtzee.
Yeah.
You pulled all the Yahtzee dice.
And
Yeah, it was a
now,
lot of fun. Sometimes I wish I
Slay,
wrote down those rules.
yeah, that you could release that. I'd be. Now I ask this of everybody who says that they started on like old school AD&D. How do you feel about THACO?
Oh, THACO! I love THACO. I mean, I grew up on THACO. I'll let you in a little secret. I actually still play in an original rules campaign right now with some friends.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's technically second edition, so it's slightly better THACO, but it's yeah, we're still playing the old rules. So,
Wow. I'm impressed.
in fact, I didn't really know about some of the other editions until I met Brent, who
Really?
meeting Brent and kind of connected on that Dungeons and Dragons vibe, and so he was like, "Oh yeah, what rules do you play by?" And I'm like, "Oh, we'll play by original rules." He's like, "Dude, haven't you heard about D20? Haven't you heard about?"
Yeah, like he was so old.
And I'm like,
it was like,
"What is this D20 you speak?"
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I think that's a perfect segue for Brent to answer this question then. What was your start into nerddom?
So I was 13, and my brother and I had gone to a used bookstore, and we were always nerds, but didn't really know what that meant. And we went into this used bookstore, and we found Dungeons and Dragons. It was second edition, and
nice.
And it was a whole set: Monster Manual, Dungeon Master Guide, Player's Guide. There was even a Fiend Folio. Everything.
Where is it right now?
Oh, it's gone. We went and we bought it. It was like it cost us $10 to get the whole set. It was crazy. They were like 50 cents a book. It was, or I can't even remember, but we ended up buying like 6 or 8 books. And I remember my brother and I sitting in the basement. We had to hide it because my parents were like, no Dungeons and Dragons, and like it was a serious thing. So we had to hide it. We snuck it into the house and we read it in the basement. Didn't understand any of it. Had no idea, but we're just obsessed with it, and never played it.
Really?
We never played it, but we had it and we referenced it all the time. And then when I was just a little bit older, the 3.5 had come out. We actually started on a D20 Star Wars game, which is the same rules. It's just Star Wars skin instead of D&D.
Oh, very
And
cool.
History. So we both, my brother and
we connected on that.
We connected on Star Wars. Yeah.
I think that's the first game we played together.
We played Star Wars, and it was 3.5 rules. It's still, it was by Wizards of the Coast, and
okay.
so we played that for, my brother and I played that for years, and then we just naturally ported into D&D because obviously played the same thing. The rest is history, really. But always Star Wars, like Star Wars was my starting point for everything. So
I mean that's how we connected. I think our mutual love.
No, we had the same wallet.
We had the same wallet.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you in a little secret, Abby. He was in my class. I teach history at a local university. He was in my class, and after the class had finished, not during, but after, we went out for drinks, and then we pulled out our wallets at the same time,
We
and we both had Batman wallets. And
That's incredible.
It was the same wallet. It wasn't just Batman. It was the exact same wallet.
Yeah,
and it was awesome.
Yeah,
and then the rest is history.
The rest is history, as they say.
Yeah,
that's like the best origin story.
It's so good. It was meant to be.
I mean, that's how I would know immediately that someone was my best friend. Like, it was like preordained.
That's right. It was like that scene in Step Brothers when they look at each other and like, did we just become best friends? And we were just like, yep.
And it was nerding out after that. Just everything. Star Wars, Marvel, Batman, Dungeons and Dragons,
everything.
You know, everything. It was like, what is?
I think I invited him to my campaign that day. Yeah. Like I had just finished his class, and I'm like, "You play D&D? Come to my house and
let's
play."
Go. We're playing now.
Let's go. It was
grab
really,
your dice.
And I had to explain it to my group. Like, so this guy's coming over. He's my professor.
He's cool, I promise.
Yeah, it was really, really funny. So, but yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. So yeah, we're full tilt nerds.
We're nerds. Yeah.
So are you still big D&D nerds? Like, how do you nerd out now? Like, do you do anything else? Do you go to conventions, do cosplay, books, movies? What are you guys into now?
I'll start.
Go for it, man.
Okay, so convention, we go to conventions with the game with our stuff. But before all that, we always went to local conventions. Pretty much always together too, because like we do everything together. But now it's like whatever, any nerd consumable that you can get is where we're at, you know, at least for me, you know, Star Wars, media, anything. What did we just nerded out over Mandalorian? Like we watched it like
great. That was good times.
3 times already. It's 35 minutes and we've seen it more than we should have. But like, yeah, anything that's possible. I don't cosplay or anything like that. I always wanted to. I just don't have time.
I would love to too. I think for me there was a bit of a hiatus. I mean, I was pretty much a big nerd in high school, but then got to university, and I think you kind of get distracted by that.
Yeah.
And sadly, I think I kind of regulated a lot of the things that I enjoyed as when I was younger aside, while I was kind of doing this other thing. And I think maybe like in my late 30s, I was kind of like, you know, why am I pushing all this stuff away? Let me try to reconnect with some of this stuff. And I think Comic-Con and Toronto Fan Expo,
yeah,
you know, really kind of brought some of that back. And then obviously meeting you too. So, yeah, it was a nice sort of homecoming. It was kind of nice coming back to those things, and then sort of asking yourself, why did I even sort of regulate those things to the, you know, out of my life? Like, why did I censor all that stuff? Right. You know, I just kind of embraced it after that, and you know, this is definitely a part of me. This is part of my identity. This is who I am. Why am I, you know, being ashamed or embarrassed or, you know, now if any sort of academic, my colleagues or talk about it, I'll tell them straight up, you know.
Nerd.
Yeah, the chair of my department knows I'm a big Star Wars fan, and you know, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
At least now we have something to actually talk about.
It's literally tattooed all over my body. I can't hide it.
So
make a game company.
Yeah, then we decided to make a game company.
Yeah, how did that happen? So you went out for drinks, you had the same wallet, you became best friends instantly. How did that lead to let's make our own game company and create our own tabletop role-playing system?
So that was a long evolution, actually.
Okay.
Shiraz and I, one night we're sitting, it was late too. It must have been like 2 a.m. because it was just ridiculous. And we were watching some movie and we were like, this would be cool if this was a game. And he was like, yeah, that would be cool. And we started talking and we literally started just developing a game about that movie. Well, of course, not about the movie, but sort of in the same theme. Originally, we were basing everything on a D20 rule set because the D20 rule set is an open source rule set. And then And then we got serious about it.
Then we got serious about it. I think part of me was like, if I'm gonna come out with a game, and expect people to buy this game, what am I giving?
Yeah, what are we offering?
What are we offering
Yeah.
that person? And I felt like, I had to give something authentic and original. And so I was already, I play a lot of, I think I played more board games than I do RPGs. So I played a lot of board games.
Mm-hmm.
I have friends, not me particularly, I have friends with back games all the time. So there's always, every week, a new game coming in, right? So I played a lot of games, kind of got familiarized with a lot of
Rule sets.
game mechanics and things like that. And so we just started creating game mechanics.
And actually, we became super serious because we had a random invite to go to Gen Con.
Okay.
Came out of the blue. We weren't supposed to go. A friend of ours, he had booked more table space than he needed, and he had extra space. And he's like, I know that you guys were developing this game, and it wasn't Cataclysm at the time.
Yeah.
It was a completely different game. And he was like, why don't you guys come? And we were like, yeah, we're in. And then that day we became like serious. It was like, oh, now we actually have to do something.
At least I thought he was serious because he.
So
I sense a story.
It's true. It's
So
true.
He calls me up and goes, "Dude, actually no, you call me over.
I called
came
you to
over.
my house. Yeah,
You
I had
to
to have him sit down in
down.
front of me. Yeah.
And then you said, listen, bro, just hear me out. How about a game about cats?" And I looked at you like very sort of. I thought he was joking. In fact, when I realized you weren't joking, I got upset and actually
he was upset.
stormed out because
He was upset.
I was like, "Why are you not taking this seriously?
Yeah.
I really want to be a game
Yeah,
designer."
yeah, I remember that
Yeah.
conversation. And I was being very earnest with him and
Yeah.
thinking like, so I had this vision in a dream, which sounds so ridiculous, of almost exactly the cover of the book.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, that would be awesome. Like that would just be.
Epic.
I said epic, yeah, because that was my word back then. It would be epic, and people would love it. And I tried to pitch it to him, and he was like, "I thought you wanted to be a game designer. Like
Yeah.
I thought you wanted to be serious about games." and he's like, "This is silly."
Yeah.
And
I was quite looking back. I was quite dismissive. It took me a few days,
yeah,
if not a week, to kind of get around the idea and sort of embrace it, because I think my mind was somewhere else, or sort of my vision.
yeah, you were just thinking different things.
Yeah, I was just thinking different things.
He was dreaming a different dream.
But then when we started sort of forming it out and sort of seeing what the implications of a game that revolved around, anthropomorphic cats were the main heroes, protagonists in the story, it got really compelling, and I really started getting into it.
Yeah, he's even more into it now than I am.
Brent is the idea person. He comes with these ideas, and then he comes and he brings them to me and says, "This is my idea," and then I say, "Okay, can I put a mechanic behind that idea? Right? Can I put some rules behind that idea? Right?" So that's basically our method, really. He comes up with these fantastical ideas. I'm far less dismissive now. Okay, I listen to what he's saying, and then I try to see, okay, is this something that could work mechanically as a game, or will it get too easily pigeonholed, or get stuck in a certain place? Is it too kitschy, or is it too and then we kind of work it out. I mean, it's kind of so with Cataclysm, this idea of 9 lives, and these cats have sort of evolved, and they use meowgic, and and I was like, I'm done, I'm sold.
Yeah.
This
it didn't take long once we fleshed it out a little bit that he was like, "Oh, I see it. I see it." I think he was thinking in his head like cartoon cats. Sylvester, from Tweety, like it's like, I think that's what he thought. Yeah. And like in my head, I was like, "No, dude, it's gonna be epic." Yeah. But and then Akinji Entertainment became real.
Yeah.
That first Gen Con, we became real. It was a thing.
And we did a one-shot Cataclysm.
We did a one-shot. Yeah, we made it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We came up with a work. with the rule set that we took to the first Gen Con. Now the new
it was a lot simplified.
Yeah, it was much more simple than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
But we did it in 2 weeks. We got some artwork and we like hit it hard. And then we, at the end of that, we looked at each other. I remember the car ride home. We looked at each other and just were like, "That's it. This is gonna be our lives. We're gonna do this." And you know, we said it already once, but like the rest is history.
The rest is history.
The rest
So
is
Akinji,
history.
yeah.
I mean, I had a bit of. I mean, I said, okay, fine. If we're gonna make a game about cats, then there's certain things that I would like. I would like it to be serious, even though the cats are there's you probably know I'm playing with in Timmy's group that you know there's a lot of avenue for humor and cat puns and things like that. Ultimately, the cats are serious. I mean, they're heroes. They're
heroic.
They're heroic.
They're heroic.
You know, they're doing serious things, and you know, yes, there's some comical element to it because you know they're cats walking, and that's just hilarious. But you know, they're I look at them as you know really.
It was equal parts silly and serious.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more.
I like to think that we're laughing with them than laughing at them.
Yeah, we're not laughing at them. This is a laugh with.
Yeah.
I mean,
because we love them.
I get that. I played a fat Sphinx cat named Garbage. Like,
exactly. You really took the game and did what we meant. That's you. That's what happened. That's my vision. I was like, what about a fat cat named Garbage? That would be awesome. And you were like, we connected on that one. So that's exactly what we were looking for.
Well, fat cat because it's a trope. Right?
Yeah, it's a trope. Yeah, Garfield, Heathcliff.
Right, and you know he has certain disabilities and certain abilities, you know, certain benefits and certain you know,
positive and negative attributes,
right? Which we felt would really kind of add to the role playing experience. So, so the fat cat is like a paradigm. You put it on top of you added a paradigm. You don't need to add a paradigm, but you added a paradigm to your to the Sphinx. And so with the paradigm comes, you know, added bonuses, but also some disadvantages.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that segues very well into my next question, which is, you know, what makes Cataclysm unique from other TTRPG systems out there?
Well, you want to? I was going to.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you go.
So I wanted to introduce. So one of the things that I've always had a hard time with, and this could just be my personal hang up, hit points. I have a problem with it. I find that we know in principle hit points work, but especially when characters start to level and increase, hit points increase, right? You start taking more damage. It doesn't really sort of lend itself to, you know, to reality.
It's not real.
So the sort of I guess the quintessential element to our system, to the Phase 4 system, is the use of phases. So all heroes characters have 4 phases, and you know that you can on the character sheet it might be down the side, 4 phases, or we use something like a dial. This is where are the dials? Here's the dial, for example.
Hero dial.
A hero dial, which comes with the deluxe set. So
I don't know if that.
Yeah. So you can just flip through. So you start with green, then you go to yellow, then you go to red, and then black you're dead, but that's okay, you're a cat. So you just spend your life, you get back into the game, right? Right. So that's sort of like the main thing, and I wanted to make combat or situations of you know trials and tribulations in the game, whether it's combat or other sort of things that happen in the game, obstacles and things like that, affect the character's overall demeanor and health, and it's represented through these phases.
Yeah, it's not so much a hit point tracker as it is a condition tracker. So in Phase 4, you're not just, you know, if you take damage, you can move into a different phase, but you can also move into a different phase if you're stressed, or if you're under duress, you can be moving into. I feel, and we both agree on this, is that like RPGs don't always sort of calculate that in to the gameplay. So it's all fine and good if you have really great role players who role play their stress. But I've played with so many people who are, they just sort of shrug it off in game because all they want to do is roll dice and kill orcs.
Yeah.
And and that's great. That's cool because that's a style of play, and I play like that. Sometimes it's great, but and that's one of the things that we wanted to really put into our RPGs with the Phase 4 system is that you can you can now be stressed and sort of take the same effects that you would in real life in game for stress, because there are certain penalties that are associated with being in a yellow phase versus a green phase, or in a red phase, a yellow phase. And so, while it also counts damage, it was just really important to sort of also account for that mental duress.
Yeah, and it works nice with cats because cats. So we try to do that thematically. So, for example, all characters start in the green, but let's say you're a cat, you walk into a room, and the cat sees this long string, and at the end of the string is this shiny little tassel or a bell or something like that, right? And so the GM would tell the player, well, everybody move your dials to the yellow because you're stressed because this tassel's right there.
Yeah, the tassel's right there, and you're not going to play with it.
The only way you're going to get out of the yellow is either you leave the room,
that's right,
or you give in to your
instincts
and go at that task.
That's right. Yeah, this also helped us sort of force people to play as cats as opposed to just playing a D&D skin. So what we wanted to do was say, okay, what do cats do? Shiraz has cats. We watch his cats, and you're like, okay, well, cats sleep a lot on comfy things. So in the game, if there's a comfy pillow and you're not, with a beam of light shining down on it, it's all warm. If you're not jumping on that pillow to take a quick nap, then you're going to move into stress, and it was just a way to make, and that the Phase 4 system works for that. The system itself is a little bit more robust, but for Cataclysm particularly, it works really nicely because we can push people into that cat frame of mind. It encourages you to be lazy.
Yeah,
really.
Well,
because if you want to stay green,
you have to manage the dial. You have to manage the phases, right?
Yeah.
So
the other thing that we really liked about the phase, and it sets us apart, is like I play Pathfinder. We play Pathfinder. And as a GM, I always found it a pain to be managing people's hit points and ACs. So as you're playing, you have your screen up and you say, oh, Shiraz, how much health do you have?
Yeah, who needs healing?
Who needs healing? Who needs to be healed, right? And so you're playing these things, but when you have the dial or you have the phase, everybody can see where you are. So if you're, if I'm playing with you guys and one of you is in the red, I don't know if you can see the dial very well, but when you're in the red, okay, as a player, I know I'm like, okay, hang on a second. Shiraz needs healing. Garbage is in serious peril. He should be healed. So we can spend that time to recoup our affected allies without having to check in with everybody. Sort of like, how much hit points do you have? It's right there on the table. And that was a big game designing sort of thing that we wanted to sort of set apart. Right, it makes us that much different.
And I do like that a lot because it's not metagaming. Like where you are playing like, Pathfinder or Dungeons and Dragons or something, and you ask people at the table how many hit points does everyone have. That's pretty metagamey. It's not like you're asking how does everyone look. Whereas with this phase system that you have, like if someone's in the red, you can tell that they look bad. You can tell, like,
exactly.
Physically, visually, they are not 100%.
Exactly, and that's one of the things is like it really makes the game a little bit more real. Which I guess it sounds silly to say that, but it does. It brings it to life.
Well, at least it gives that sense of urgency. When a GM wants to convey that urgency to the players, it can really feel real. Like from the game testing we've had, where characters or players at the table end up in the yellow, you can see suddenly the choices that they're making are really dictated by the.
That's right.
Right.
And people that I've played with, it's funny, as their dial moves into lower phases, their actual the people at the table are physically changing. So you can see, I remember this one guy I was playing with at Gen Con, and he was in the red and he was stuck there, and he was like the tank, and they'd heal him and he'd go back in red, and he was sweating. Like he looked stressed.
He kept looking at that red face.
He kept looking at his red face, and he's like, guys, help me. And I remember like checking in with him at one point and be like, dude, are you okay? He's like, no, I'm stressed. It was, and I was like, this is why we did this, right? And I'm like, you're the perfect person to play with, because you're exactly what I wanted. So
yeah, so that's where the system gets its namesake, from
4 phases, phase 4, yeah.
And what we're intending to do is actually really flesh this out so we can come up with a system that is robust enough to even play in any sort of campaign, not just a Cataclysm campaign, but any sort of campaign.
Yeah.
So that's something that we're working
The
on.
rules for Cataclysm are actually fairly simple. If you've ever played an RPG before, and this was something that was important to me, we wanted to make like a gateway drug to RPGs. Cats are super palatable, so that was the easy choice. And then we made the game very simple. If you've played an RPG before, you can learn it in about 5 minutes, 10 minutes maybe. And if you've never played before and somebody's explaining to you, it takes 15 minutes. And then anybody can play. Like, I've played with my wife, we played with Shiraz's fiance, I played with my stepfather-in-law. He's 75 and like never has played games in his life, and he picked up the rule set so fast. And it was just, that was sort of the idea, because if you're trying to slog through a D&D book, like my brother and I, when we picked up those version 2 books, we had no idea what we were reading. And unless
it can be intimidating. Rules sets, they can be very intimidating. And the thing about Cataclysm was there's an appeal, there's a broader appeal because of the cats. And so you have people who perhaps would never try a role-playing game because it's just too daunting or just too intimidating, but they're like, well, you know what, I might try this because it's about cats. And actually, we had a lot of people who backed us who've never played role-playing games before. They just want to try it. They'll try this one because it's about cats. So
we've played with a lot of people who's like, husbands drag their wives to it because they're like, I want to play role-playing games with my significant other or my partner, or wives drag their husbands, and they're like, they won't play, but they like the cat theme, so I could probably convince them. And then everybody leaves the table with huge grins on their face, right? Like, because they've had, because it's easy to learn, it's fun to play. So
It is very fun to play.
Yeah. I think that's the main points about what makes us a little bit different from any other RPG set.
Actually, there is one more thing that makes you very different from any RPG that I've ever played. You guys have a single D10 system, which I have never seen before. Usually you have your D20 systems, you have your percentile die systems, or you have 2D6 systems. I have never played a game that worked with just one D10.
Wait till you see what we have coming. No,
can you tell me why you chose this and why you developed this?
Yeah, absolutely. So the D10, before we went in the 2 weeks leading up to Gen Con, I literally sat on my computer and read Wikipedia article after Wikipedia article about just about every rule set that existed. And what I found, they were all pretty crunchy, which is great. No criticism there. They were a little bit crunchy, and they were complicated because of all the different dice they used. So I was trying to think, if we want to make a game that's really simple, not simple, but like something that you can palette very easily. I thought, make a simplified die, okay? And because it's cats, we run everything in 9. And I was like, a D10 is perfect. It has a 0, so a 0 in Cataclysm is actually a 0. It's not a 10. And the 9 is the highest you can go. So it just worked out. And then I thought, we'll keep the game.
Side bonus,
yeah, that was just a side bonus, yeah. But I thought we could keep the game low score, so the math involved is very minimal. Because I found that was talking to people who didn't play games, they were intimidated by the amount of math that I would have to do, and you can quick add 9 and 4 pretty fast, so the scores are low. The highest you can get, I think, is 17, so it's pretty quick adding, and that was really appealing to me. And the fact that no one else was really using a single D10 was another reason why I was really pushing for that in the beginning. And Shiraz came up with it. I mean, like, he's the one that, I said to him, "This is what GURPS does. This is what D&D does. This is what these come." And he's like,
"I'm not a mathematician by any stretch of the imagination." One of the benefits of being an academic is that you can just walk down the hall to the mathematics department
and
say,
speak
"Hey,
to
run these numbers for me.
Can
Give
you
me the
check this probability on this?"
Right? And
It was actually cool. I teach, and I had my grade 7 class last year work out the probability for critical hits in our game. So in Cataclysm, in D20, you have to roll a 20 to get a critical hit. In Cataclysm, you have to roll a difference of 9 between two results. So if I roll a 1 and you get 10 to your score, then that's a critical hit or a critical success. And I actually had some of my kids run the probability difference on a D20 versus the 9-point difference, and it's basically the same. It's actually a little bit easier in our game to roll a critical hit.
Wow.
Than it's basically I had improved critical on a rapier in Pathfinder. So it worked out really nicely that it just happens to be how it is. Yeah.
So that was a nice plus. But actually, with our future plans with Phase 4, it's going to move. It's moving beyond the simplicity of the singular.
Yeah, it won't be a D10.
Yeah,
just one D10.
Yeah, but
we'll save that.
We'll save that.
Yeah, save that for
Save that
the
for
phases.
later.
The phases will be there.
Yeah, just the dice will change.
The dice will change.
Okay. Now, you said that this came to you in like a dream, like this vision of a role-playing game of just cats.
Yeah.
But like, why did you keep it to just cats and not include other animals that maybe people like as pets? Like dogs or hamsters or ferrets. I don't know.
Oh, it's great. That's a great
Birds.
question. So the idea was cats initially.
Okay.
And when I pitched it to Shiraz, I said, it's just going to be cats. There will be other animals involved, but the game is going to be just the only people you can play are cats. And he was a little bit sort of odd about it, but as he became more into it, I started throwing more of my crazy ideas at him. And I was like, write an expansion for dogs, which is I'm currently sort of in process of, called Ragnaruf.
Oh my god, I love it!
Yeah, the main character is Thorgy.
Yeah,
I love it.
We got some preliminary artwork. I don't know.
Yeah,
if in that folder,
yeah. There's some. I'll show you. Oh yeah, we'll send you the artwork. You can have a look at it. But basically the idea is that the cats, when they became sentient, they also used Meowgic to bring other creatures with them. So the dogs are going to have their own form of Meowgic. It's called Dogma, and it's a little bit more religious. They also will have 9 lives. They're canines, so they have 9 lives also. I know, it's all up here. I'm telling you right now.
I'm so here for it.
The idea is that we would create a world for cats, and then the cats would be basically the humans of our world,
the alpha species.
The alpha species. Yeah.
So we wanted to create a world. I asked Brent, okay, where are the cats? Why are they there? Where are the other animals?
Yeah.
And what is their relationship to them? Why are they so special?
Yeah.
Right. And then you were like, well, they have Meowgic. Okay, good. Okay, so the cats have Meowgic. Other animals may or may not have the same level of abilities, right? Meowgic. What else is special about them? Well, cats have 9 lives. So it's like, oh, okay, well, that gives them an advantage over the other animals. right? So to answer your question, yeah, there are other animals. There's dogs, there's squirrels,
and they
otters
exist. They all exist
from the Ottoman Empire. You got
Ottomans,
the otters, right? You got
The Ottoman
you know,
Empire.
yeah.
I'm a historian. You know, and so you can as a player character, if you want to, if a GM allows you to, you can play those characters.
There's actually stats in the back of the book. There are rules, so you can add in now they're baseline rules, and in future additions and expansions,
It'd be nice to flesh.
There'll be bigger, more fleshed out rules. But
Okay.
like you can, they're like small dog, medium dog, large dog. Or you can even play a rat. We've included stats for rats and squirrels, mice, birds. But all of those species, all of those creatures, they'll be fleshed out in future editions or future releases. So I want to have a dog book because I'm a dog person actually. So I want to have people who are dog people. We're coming. Don't worry. But those characters, and they all coexist together. The same as humans, elves, and dwarves do in D&D. Cats, dogs, and mice, they coexist. They've forgiven animosities that they once had, and now they need each other. Right?
Especially cats and mice.
Especially cats and mice. Cats and mice, 100% water under the bridge. But the cat theme stuck because it was an easy sell, to be honest. He was a cat person, and I knew that if I just stuck with cats and pushed that cat angle, he'd go with it. Also, cat-based puns, there were just so many.
But okay, to be honest, okay, like if you think about it, but if humans were to leave, something
cats.
happened to humans. I mean, of course the cats
Of
are
course
gonna
the cats.
inherit
Of
the
course the
world.
cats. I know,
right?
That's what I told you.
And I mean, the dogs are there. They have renewed purpose now. There's like instead of serving humans, now they're they're like hanging out with cats and they're still being like dogs. They typically serve functions in society as guards and police.
Mail carriers
and
service industry. Right?
Yeah, so that's how they find fulfillment.
Yeah.
The cats are a bit more. Yeah, they're the alpha species. They're sort of dominate. They dominate. And they have a sense of purpose, right? Because the world as it is, and we've only kind of released a little bit at a time about what's happened to the world. In fact, when you read the rule book, it just says that the humans are gone. It doesn't really give you a precise explanation or in-depth explanation as to what happened to the humans. But humans were once there; they're not there anymore. Cats have evolved and basically have taken their place, and have kind of assumed a lot of the burdens and responsibilities that go with being,
the dominant species.
top of the pyramid, right?
Also, when I had first envisioned it, I pictured. I'm a big fan of Frank Frazetta, the artist, and when I had originally sort of thought about this game, I thought a cat, sort of Conan, for lack of a better word, Catnan, and fighting a bunch of rats. And not that there wasn't space for the other creatures. It's just I thought, let's focus on one. We'll get it right, and then we can add the others in as a layer. Layers are important, and in that, we kind of thought, let's start with the cats because people are really going to go for that. Even dog people go for cats. Nobody's ever come up to the table and been like, I hate cats so much I'll never play your game.
Yeah.
I've never ever encountered that. So
appreciate the fact that cats have 9 lives, and so I think one of the good points about Cataclysm as a nice game to kind of introduce players to it for the first time is that, I mean, it sucks when our characters die, right? At least here your character can die a few times.
Yeah, you can keep them going, right?
Without you getting stressed out. So death is just a minor inconvenience. It's not this sort of thing that when the cat just dies, but then suddenly reappears, right?
And that again goes back to the sort of the simplicity or difference from our rule set, right? Like it sets us apart because your character doesn't die immediately when they die.
Yeah. That seems to be a quick sell. You say cats have 9 lives, no one questions.
Oh my God, people laugh so hard too. They just think that's like that's
why
amazing.
Why do they have 9 lives?
Yeah,
because they're cats.
I've only had one person ever question it, and he was from Spain. And apparently in Spain, cats only have 7 lives. So the fact that
We should know that when you
we
translate
should
it over
we,
to
we
German.
should we have to change it because that's what he was like. I remember him. He was a fan expo. He was like, "Well, in Spain, cats have 7 lives." And I'm like,
you can homebrew that.
I'm like, there you go, buddy.
Yeah,
I mean, just scroll it down for when you get home.
Yeah.
You know, it was very interesting.
Euro rules, cat.
Euro rules,
7 lives.
That is so funny. I'd never heard of that before.
Yeah, me neither. It totally blew my mind. And he was confused that I kept saying 9s.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, cat's a 9, cat's a 9. And he was like, I don't know what you're talking
about. No, cat's in 7. What?
It's a 7. What are you talking about? Crazy Canadians.
Now, during all this, for the creation of Cataclysm, what would you say was the hardest part for you?
The hardest part, I think, for me personally, would be the mechanics and making sure that they work. And there's always that thing, and I'm pretty sure there's a sentiment that's shared with a lot of game designers that you can game test and game test and game test. But what if someone breaks your game? And that's fine. People should break your game, but you want them to break the game in development, right? Not when it's after finished. It's done. So there's always that sort of fear that, have I checked all the boxes? Have I looked at all possible cases? Has every scenario, every time we've game tested it, so I think I stressed out a lot. I think I lost a lot. I think I grayed out a lot because of
true.
And making sure it works and the language works. Oh, the language is a major.
Language is a huge part, actually. Yeah,
making sure that the language makes sense.
Neutral pronouns was a big concern.
That's what.
For us.
Yeah, we did that intentionally in the book. Is that we wanted to do that, and so just being conscientious of the way we wrote.
That's right. Yeah.
Work. Yeah. And making that choice that we're going to use, more neutral language.
Yeah.
That was also something that
super, super important.
Yeah.
I think too that in the whole process of it, I would say that a large difficulty for me, or at least something that has caused me stress, has been the manufacturing phase.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
Because like at this stage and at stages previous to this, the game works, the game is fun, the game is finished, it's ready, and then we hit this manufacturing phase where everything literally just stopped. And for me, that was a huge, it was like a grind, and it was because, and he can attest to this, it was a daily grind, and it still is really.
Yeah.
And
we're happy to report that the game is done. And our last update to our backers was a photo of the warehouse. They're basically wrapped up on skids now.
They're shipping out.
So they're shipping out. But just that alone was so much stress.
Oh my God, and time and all sorts of barriers involved in that. And so for me, the actual development, the design, getting the work finished, getting the artwork done, that stuff was more like an exercise of, I don't know, it was fun to me.
Well, you were very good at sourcing artwork and things.
And sort of negotiating. I liked that stuff. That's
my advice to potential designers and other people who, sometimes it's not even, you might have a really great idea, but when you move into that manufacturing, like you're going into,
it's deep water, and you better know how to swim.
Never done before.
Yeah.
No amount of going to cons, no amount of playing games will prepare you.
That's right.
For the manufacturing process. That was something, and it would have been nice to have someone to kind of guide us along, or kind of give us some pointers. But you're really just at their mercy. You don't really know what to expect.
Yeah. In terms of the design, though, for the game, I really didn't have any stress, because I knew that whatever I had made, if it didn't work, he would fix. So, in terms of the development and
no, there's always a game mechanic solution. Whatever problem.
Yeah.
I'm sure other designers would agree with me. Like whatever, if there's any sort of problem with the game, there is a mechanic that will fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not something that you have to come up with yourself.
Yeah.
It's probably already there.
And the thing is that I knew that,
I
don't know, for me, not to sound like super cheesy or corny, but I knew that I got this guy and he's got me. So in the whole development part of it, I never had that stress because I was like, if it's not something I can do, he can do it, and if it's not something he can do, I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of development and designing the game, I was never really concerned about things, at least not with this game. And the thing that causes me in terms of the most struggle was pretty well all manufacturing. The manufacturing has just been a huge problem. Not exactly what you were asking in your question, but
no, that's definitely an answer that, manufacturing was the biggest hurdle. I can definitely see that. That's, you don't exactly just know how to do that.
no, and no one tells you is the problem.
Yeah.
We were involved in a bunch of indie game groups and chats, and everybody has advice, but it's all different.
Mm-hmm.
And you never know who to go with. And the
Yeah,
company we did go with, they came highly recommended, and they
They
still
still
are.
are.
They still are very highly
yeah.
recommended, but the dealings have been stilted, and it's been very difficult.
And it shouldn't have been. It was just
It
sort
shouldn't
of
have been.
like,
Yeah.
we just want to make this game. Why is it so hard? Why is
Yeah,
it so
like
difficult?
we just want people to
You
play
know,
our game. Like,
but we're small fries. We're just
Yeah.
two guys.
we're little fish still.
We had a very successful crowdfunding campaign, but in the grand scheme of things, it's actually not a lot.
Mhm.
It's and you are basically always going to play second fiddle, third fiddle, fourth fiddle to the bigger companies that are out there.
Mhm.
And the manufacturer just knows that.
That's right.
You're not a priority, right? So, and yet you still have to come up with the weekly updates and tell your backers that everything's fine. This is but it doesn't always.
It doesn't always work.
It doesn't always
Yeah, it
work,
doesn't always
and you feel a great level of responsibility.
Huge.
We're going to talk about some of the future projects that we want to do, but we have so many ideas, so many games that we just have to basically put on hold because, like you and I, we both said,
Mm.
and we both said this and we said this very clear to the backers. We are not going to release anything else. We're not going to do anything else until this game not only finish but
it's got to
arrives
be on
at
your
your
shelf.
It's
When it's
on
on your
bookshelf.
shelf.
Yeah, it's
right?
on your game shelf. And until that happens, we're not doing any other project.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We're still game testing our ideas and playing them out, but we're not going to put anything out for crowdfunding or put anything out for release until this game is done.
Yeah.
And so,
but that has been the biggest struggle. Really.
That's really been the biggest struggle. So,
it's a long-winded answer.
Yeah,
you're very patient.
Oh, I am here to listen to you talk. I'm having a great time.
Okay, good.
Yeah. If there's any designers out there who want to like advice or something, or want to just hear about what happened and what we can tell them, and so they don't have to go through what we did, hit us up. Seriously, not even kidding. Just
send us an email.
We will share. In fact, some of the advice that we got were from other game designers who put up a blog or they put out information about.
We actually had some people reach out to us too who are game designers who have given us some good advice.
Yeah, like it's a great community. So it's and generally sympathetic, right? Because they know they've gone through the same sort of process. But yeah, our backers, I think 99% of them have just been really sort of understanding and considerate, and they get it, right? But it only takes one or two of them to kind of.
We're very sensitive people.
We're
stung
we
easily.
just want to make a game.
Yeah.
No, I completely understand. Like you can get praised by 99 people, and then if one person comes out and says, "I don't know, I didn't like it," then that still hurts. That digs deep.
He takes it really personal.
It's a process. I'll get it personal, but then the next day I'm like, why? What's wrong? Why?
What did we do? What did we do? Yeah. So we always have that conversation.
We always get that. But yeah.
So say someone buys your game, they get a hold of it, they are ready to run it. They're ready. They have a group of friends. They're ready to run it. What advice or resources for new GMs who would be interested in running your system do you have?
That's a good question. So the game itself, when you get the book, it has a mission in the back.
Okay.
That has a sort of like almost like a quick start rule set. So you can run the scenario in the back and build it into a campaign that you're planning, or you can run the scenario with your group and then start fresh after that. But in terms of simplicity of the book, I'm going to say something I think that Shiraz would probably not fundamentally disagree with, but might and I would say that it's important to know the rules, but it's also important to be flexible with those rules, right? You can already see it on his face. So it's important that it's not so important for me as like I GM a lot, and it's not so important for me that you're playing the RPG exactly by the rules as that. I know. See, he's
I love Shiraz is
board
just
game.
like
I know. He's a board game guy.
But I'm just saying, if there's a rule for it,
there's a rule for it. If there's a rule for it, use the rule.
I just think it's sloppy GMing if you just kind of like, well, I don't know the rule. Right there on my
the
shelf.
book is right there, but I'm just gonna make it up. No, but what I mean is, you don't need to memorize the book. You know,
no, there's not a lot.
Yeah, there's not a lot to it, and it's a fairly intuitive game. You know, but the game does come with the box comes with the mission in the back.
Yeah,
it comes with the map.
It
comes with a map that you can play on, which is a fold out. It has all the squares baked on, the movement and everything. It's got a castle on it. It's a pretty sweet map. It was designed just for us.
Yeah, keep on.
But yeah, so in terms of resources, the resources are there in the book. It's easily read. It's easy to digest. And then just, have fun, enjoy yourself. I like cat puns when I play, so that's always my biggest thing. And at Gen Con, last year at Gen Con, we ran a GM session, and it was a training session for people to, they could come, they play the game, and then as we were playing, we would take breaks. I used to say pause. We take pause to discuss like little GM tricks that I use in my campaigns. And I played with 6 people. All of them were GMs, and and they actually, some of them have become friends, which is pretty cool. The Alexes for one. But like they walked away from the table with a more a broader understanding of how to GM this game in particular. So
a lot of them first time GMers.
Yeah, there were a lot of first time GMers, and actually they're running campaigns now. I've spoken to some of them. So, but yeah, I mean, really, it is look through the book, understand what the cats are like, and then you can always reference rules as you play, right?
And that's what the deluxe box is. We try to kind of envision everything that you would need to play. So it comes, as Brent said, it comes with a fold out map. The rule book has in the back a sample short adventure. You also get little punch out standees, which you do, of the cats. So that's also very cool. So everything you need is kind of there for people to use. And so, yeah, the box should have everything you need. But hopefully in the future, we'll have some more resources and, it's this is Cataclysm right out the gate. So, we got other sort of plans, supplements, forums and things that we want to do to kind of make the game more accessible and to also flesh out some of the world. Yeah. So that's.
No.
What is it that you're doing there?
I was just answering a question, but I can't tell you.
Oh, you're answering a question.
Yeah,
oh,
sorry.
I see.
I distracted him.
Yeah,
that was my fault. I'm sorry.
I'm like a cat. You're just
shiny things.
Shiny. I'm like.
Okay.
Okay.
So, do you do anything else besides Cataclysm with the Akinji Entertainment right now? Do you have any like merchandise or any other additional content you put out?
So there are some serious plans. We're going to be hitting Gen Con in August with in a much harder way than we have in the past. We've had a lot of people come to us and say they want all kinds of merch. I'm not that I'm bragging, but our artwork is pretty spectacular.
It is. I love your artwork.
Yeah, and I mean the artists that we had on this project were absolutely phenomenal. They were great to work with. You know, the poster boards are beautiful. The cover is beautiful. Everything is wonderful. We've had a lot of backers actually whose cats are in the game. They want swag with their cat on it, you know? So like this year we have our own special custom dice that have like cats on them.
Oh, I need a pair. I need dice so bad. Oh my god.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet. So
That can be arranged, Abby. Don't worry.
yeah, it can definitely
They're
we
so
can
cute.
get that for you. But the dice, we're going to manufacture a new set that we'll be selling at the convention, or hoping to sell anyway at the convention.
Because these are Kickstarter exclusive.
Yeah, those ones are Kickstarter exclusive, but we're gonna have a new set, brand new ones that you can get. We're hoping to have some T-shirts and maybe some hoodies. I had a lot of people ask for hoodies. I had one person ask for a Snuggie.
I'd wear a Snuggie.
Of him. I remember like laughing with him, not at him, but like request. And so like we'll put some characters on, you know, some of the main characters on some merchandise to get it out there, right? Because people want it is the thing, you know. We have a really dedicated following, I think, and I think that it's a good way too. Like the artwork is what grabs people and brings them in, right? And our artists, they were spectacular. They're not shy of anything. Like they're amazing. So we might as well put these cats out there and let people wear them or sport them, you know. Maybe like a little tote bag with capitalism on it. That'd be pretty dope.
So you're talking about swag.
I'm talking about swag, man. Well, that's what merchandise, right?
Merch.
That's what we want.
Wow.
So like,
I'm here for it, and I'm hoping to be at Gen Con this coming year. So if I'm able to make it, I will be stopping by your booth and buying everything you have.
Come play with me. Come play with me.
I will.
Awesome.
I'm gonna bring back garbage.
Yeah, amazing, amazing.
If there's anybody watching from Toronto, we will be at Breakout Con, which is in March. I think what's the website? Breakout.
It's breakout.com.
Breakout.
It's just breakout. Yeah, it's breakout.com.
Yeah, we're gonna figure this out. Happens in March. Great time. We'll have Cataclysm there. We're gonna play Cataclysm there. We're gonna play Cataclysm. The board game's gonna be there as well,
and another board game.
And another board game that we have designed.
We could talk about it after.
Yeah. So you don't have to go all the way to Gen Con, but
yeah,
if you're in Toronto.
But come to Gen Con too, because Gen Con's awesome.
Gen Con was something else. That was like
it was an eye-opening for me. I remember, not that this is not an important story, but he was so into games, and I only played RPGs. And when we went to Gen Con, I was blown away by how many people play games. I didn't think that there were that many people, but like the first Gen Con we went to was like 50,000 people, and the last one we were at was 67,000 people. Like that's incredible.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
I've never personally gone to Gen Con, not yet. It's in the plans, but like I saw pictures people were posting, and it was just like everyone was pressed together like sardines, and I'm like, that's insane.
And it's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it was something really special for me because as a kid, I used to remember, you know, you'd read Dragon magazine and there would always be that ad, you know, Gen Con. And, you know, you're just a kid. You're not going to be going to Gen Con. So I would always look at that ad and just go, wow, man.
A boy can dream. And
then it happened. So, you know.
It's all serendipitous, really.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
Really well.
But there will be merch coming.
RPG merch.
So.
Yeah, we're really just trying to get this out to our backers. So
that's really
really our major sort of concern. Yeah,
well, I very much look forward to this merchandise.
Awesome. We'll send you some when we get it. Yeah.
You're just gonna fuel everyone calling me a crazy cat lady. They're already doing it.
We embrace those people. We embrace crazy cat ladies and individuals. Absolutely. And cats.
Let's embrace all the cats. I'm surprised none of mine have come in here yet. Usually I have at least one walking across the keyboard.
Yeah.
It's made of worms, so.
So
go into yellow. Sorry. Yeah.
So is Akinji Entertainment your full-time job, or is it not there yet?
You want to go first?
It's not there yet. It is a goal. It's like an explicit goal for me. Right now, I do teach. I teach history at several universities as a contract lecturer. So um, that was plan A. So Akinji is looking at a very good plan B right now.
It's like plan A part 2.
Yeah, oh, sure.
Akinji's.
So yeah, so my day job is I'm a professor. I teach history. I teach at 3 different universities right now, just to make it make sense. And so the typical professorship, the tenure track positions kind of has eluded me for quite some time. So I mean that's sometimes it's just what your card, the cards you've been dealt, right? So you could take a mulligan, but you can't.
Yeah, but now we're playing these cards.
Yeah, exactly, right? So you change the rules.
Change the rules. I change the rules.
You change the rules.
I'm a rules changer. That's what I do. I don't play by the rules.
Listen, I love teaching. I very much enjoy it, right?
But you want to teach people how to play your game.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at you. That the words around.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. So for me, the game thing was never actually on my radar. It is obviously now in a big way. And the same as Shiraz, it's my like plan A part 2. I'm also a teacher, not lofty like Shiraz. I teach elementary school here in Toronto.
More important.
This intermediate division, so like grades 7s and 8s typically. Okay. So I work in a school in Toronto. I work for the school board here. Again, same as him. I love teaching. Teaching is just, it's, a calling. I love it. It's something I couldn't imagine not doing it. And if I was going to hang up that, like, that hat for another hat, it would be for games. And I'm the same as Shiraz. I really want to make Akinji the primary source. I want it to be my job. More than a job. I want it to be like my life. It's my goal. It's the same as him. It's really in the not so distant future that at some point I can say, okay, I'm not going to teach this year. We're going to just do games.
So not so much that you don't teach this year, but when they turn down your contract, you're not like,
you're not upset about it.
You're not freaking out, right? Yeah. I mean, it's for me, it's always that thing that, September is rolling around and I'm waiting for a contract, And is that what I went to do a PhD for? Is that what I did all that sacrifice
all that
for?
Stress.
Just to kind of, so it's kind of like, I think in this day and age, you got to be a bit more creative.
Well, you have to be a jack of all trades, and that's the kind of thing that we're adaptive, and
it's something that like the previous generation, my parents can't seem to understand. It's just sort of like, well, why don't you have a job? Why can't you just go? I went to university, and as soon as I graduated, I had a job. That was my job for 40 years until I retired. And I was like, well, you know what? That world actually doesn't really exist anymore. It's not really the reality for many people. And so what you can do is you can either reinvent yourself or do what you love. And this is something that we love. Yeah.
We have a real passion for this. I mean, we have a passion for both.
I got one.
Oh my gosh, look at him. Or her.
This is Princess Petey Nacho Peterson.
Oh my God. Love it. Look at the brendling on her. That's beautiful.
She is.
That's actually in one of the images that you have in the cycle, and it looks like this, like your cat.
Like Petey.
Yeah.
Petey, I think she's 7 months old.
Oh, really? Oh my goodness. She's a baby, like a bit of baby.
Oh, I knew if anyone was going to come over, it was going to be her.
That's so cute.
How many cats do you have?
I have 3 cats. I have 2 kittens, both 7 months old. One is Petey. The other is Nugget.
Nugget. Oh my God!
They're from
need
2
a
different
Nugget.
litters.
Can you send us a picture of Nugget?
Yes. If I had a treat bag, I would be able to bring them over real fast. Maybe I could trick them with this chips bag. No, I don't think it's gonna work.
They're too smart.
And then I have an adult black cat named Noodle.
Very good.
Nugget.
Oh,
Noodle.
nope, they heard.
Oh my
Come
God.
here. Come on. While I try to wrangle my cats, you said that you were going to be at Gen Con next year and Breakout, right?
Breakout Con, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Is there any other conventions that people would be able to find you at, or where can they find you on social media? This is Noodle.
To be honest, that's probably the extent of our reach. I mean, we're a small company, so I mean that's.
Oh, look at it. That's Noodle.
That was Noodle.
Mr. Noodle.
Mr. Noodle. Right. Yeah.
I got you. And here's Nugget.
Oh,
wow.
Look at that one. Oh my God. I used to have a cat look just like that. His name was Snuggles. Well, Mr. Snuggles. We just call him Snuggles.
Snuggles.
Oh my God. He looks like
He's also
yeah.
7 months old.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful cat. That's Nugget.
That's Nugget.
God,
Though he's getting to be a bit of a chicken tender now.
Oh, that's amazing. I love it. I love that.
He's a chicken strip.
Yeah,
He's not a nugget anymore.
I forgot the question. I'm just thinking about those cats.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was asking if you were going to any other conventions or where you could be at, where your fans could find you on social media.
So I think this year, just because my wife is expecting, and
Congratulations.
thank you. It's just, I think, and with Shiraz has a really busy lecture schedule and teaching. It's difficult to get out local.
Mm-hmm.
Gen Con is an exception because
we always made sure that we were there.
Yeah. But in the next few years we'll have a much bigger con presence. Yeah. I have a bit of a personal business goal to be at conventions like is it Oracle?
Yeah,
PAX and some of these other bigger conventions.
And Essen Con.
Essen is down the road. Essen is down the road.
Why not?
100%. Eventually, we will go to Essen.
Well, the cats
in
have
Germany.
7 lives,
The cats will only have 7 lives.
Yeah.
In there. But in the next couple of years, our con circuit will be much bigger. But this year, it's going to be local indie cons in Toronto, and then Gen Con. If you guys go, if anybody's listening, you go to Gen Con, find us. Okay, we'll get you a seat at the table.
Yeah, tell them Abby sent you.
Yeah, tell them Abby sent you. Yeah,
that's the password.
That's the password. If you don't say Abby, then forget
back of the line.
Back of the line. Get out of here. We don't want to.
Abby sent you VIP treatment.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll sit you down. You could sit with me.
But immediately, you can find us on Twitter.
Yeah.
Akinji_ent. Okay.
Yeah.
And we have an Instagram. We're doing the gram.
The gram. We do the gram.
That's also Akinji_ent. Or is it just
the same Akinji_ent?
And we have a website.
Our website is being currently rebuilt.
Yeah. Well, we might as well give it.
But it's Akinji.com.
Or revamping the website. So.
And Facebook too. Like anytime you message us, we're pretty quick to respond. It's usually me. But so if people want to get a hold of us or find out where we're at, you can always find us there. Yeah.
And the last question I have for you guys tonight, do you have any future projects coming up that you'd like to talk about?
The big question.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, like I said earlier, we are actually in development of a board game in the same world as Cataclysm. So it's going to be a cooperative tactical minis game.
Oh, I love that.
It's so good. It's so good.
I love cooperative games.
Yeah, cooperative. It's campaign. So you're playing through a series of adventures leading to an end goal.
Mm-hmm.
But the choices that you make within each scenario and outside the scenario will affect the way the game evolves.
And the characters change as you play.
You start off with playing 4 cats, and they all have their own sort of distinct abilities and powers. And as players, you need 4 players. You play the cats. You play the cat you want, but as you go through the adventure, you will meet other cats on your adventure, and they will join your clouder. And so, before you do any sort of particular scenario, you as a group can decide which cats to kind of to play or to kind of.
You can bring them into different scenarios.
Yeah.
You don't always have to play the same character.
So as a player, you're not playing the same character all the time. You get to choose which cat hero you want to play for that particular scenario.
Because they have different abilities.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's I'm like obviously we have to say it because it's our game, but like truthfully, it is.
Yeah, that's
a really spectacular game.
That's really stressed me out a lot. But
and this guy, he's put so much time into it, but it's paid off. Like it's funny because cooperative games were never my thing. And actually, I'm pretty sure that when he was like, "I want to do cooperative game," I might have even done the Cataclysm on you.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I played like. It's an amazing game.
I like cooperative games. Also, as far as spirit of games go, I really hate that mechanic. I hate any mechanic where a player loses a turn. I just can't stand that in games. So yeah, you can't. There's no losing a turn. There's nothing more. Frustrating than you miss a turn to watch everybody else play again, and you come back to you, right? So it's like, So there's no missing turns, folks. Everybody gets to play their turn.
So that's one. We have another board game coming. It's in development. We brought it to Gen Con this year called Shattered Labyrinth. It's a sort of a, I don't know what you call it. What do you call it?
It's not cooperative.
It's not cooperative. It's very competitive. Yeah. You can play cooperative if you wanted to, but it's kind of no. Actually, you can't. Never mind. You can't. It is a competitive game, but it's sort of a race to the middle.
Yeah.
Style. There's a
dynamic board.
It's a dynamic board, so it moves and changes. And the tiles themselves move and change depending on the round of play and who's in them. So
you're never playing the same.
You're never playing the same game twice. It's always a different game. That game it had some pretty great feedback. I had some great feedback. So
you gotta get into the labyrinth.
Yeah.
Get to the center of the labyrinth.
Get to the center.
Grab the treasure.
Get the treasure and get out.
And then try to get out.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
the tiles are moving.
The tiles are moving. There's monsters.
It's a labyrinth.
It's always moving.
It's changing.
I wanted to really capture the feel of if you were in a labyrinth. So you really don't know where you are at any given time. Sometimes the best strategy is not to have one in that game.
The revamp website will have.
Yeah, there'll be some more information about it. Lots of flavor. We like flavor. We're both storytellers. So.
Yeah, a lot of images.
A lot of flavor. That kind of stuff.
And we're very happy with the way the minis have turned out. So we've had some great artists working on. They basically took a lot of the images that you see here, and have rendered beautifully.
Absolutely amazing miniatures.
These cats. So we're very happy with how that turned out.
It's really only 2 artists.
Is it?
It's just 2, and they're both spectacular.
Now, will these be like plastic or metal minis that you can paint and everything?
High density resin, I believe, and silicone mold. So they'll be very durable. They'll be highly playable, but also high detail, like very, very, very high detail. In fact, some of the minis, all the minis that we have are produced in a similar way. But you can actually, the minis are only about that big, but you can actually see the whiskers on the cat's faces. Like the detail is. That was the point. Really, we wanted people to be able to really have something super quality. We know what it's like when you open a product and you're like, oh, this is what I was expecting, and that's what I got.
Yeah.
So we didn't want that. We wanted to really produce something that
I wish I had some minis like ready to show you. But,
And
Yeah.
they'll come unpainted.
they will come
unpainted,
unpainted. Yeah. The idea there is that you can paint them like your cat.
Beautiful. That's what I wanted to hear.
That's it. Like I really like that Meowgic cat. I'm gonna paint it like, Noodles.
Actually, in fact, Abby, if you want to see them, I can just right there. I can go grab them.
Go ahead, grab them. Yeah. I'm
Talk-
not doing
talk-
anything else tonight.
So another game that we have, and we mentioned it earlier, was the new Phase 4 rule set.
Yes.
So we want to make something that's a little bit crunchier, a little bit more intense, and we're surrounding it around a particular world. But the plan is to make a rule set and then sort of sell the rule set without a skin on it, and then anybody can apply and then make skins that go with it.
Okay.
The idea
different campaigns
for different campaigns
different
and
campaign
things.
settings.
Like I said, we're storytellers, and we like everything to have sort of a reason, and so everything will be connected. Everything is connected. So all the worlds that we create, they all connect in some way, shape, or form.
You can just
this is
that's one of them.
This is Muse.
He's a gunslinger type.
I love it.
Yeah, you can. I don't know if the camera's not going to really give it very much power there.
Here, give me just a second. I'm going to see if I can blow you up real fast.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
I'm going to make you real big.
Okay.
So everyone can see it. Beautiful. Oh, that looks so good.
So that's the one. I'll show you another one here. This is Prince Alacat, and he's our Meowgician. So he's shooting Meowgic, and you can see all the details in the cloak and stuff, but there's the front of him there.
So it's going to be pretty mini heavy. The game probably going to come with 27 minis.
Wow, that's a lot.
The typical size for the nerds out there, these are like 30mm heroic.
They're heroic, yeah.
So the standard, that's apparently.
You want to give me one of the big ones, or you want to show that?
Well, you just go, and then you can just show her this. I mean.
Yeah. So we're also gonna have monsters, like monstrous minis. I don't want to get too close, but this is a giant miasmatic scorpion.
So one of the evil
miasmancers in the game, one of the villains. Now this one is actually a low quality. It'll be a much higher quality one.
Because they're ridiculously expensive.
They're very
shockingly
getting the prototypes made was a process.
I'm sure.
But
you can we're really happy they turned out, because one of the modelers, there's his name is Claudio Setti here in Toronto.
Yeah, he's a local.
Should give a shout out to Claudio. He's amazing. He's has.
I don't know. You could say he actually designs all of our beastly ones.
Yeah.
So the scorpion and some of the other big bosses that
we have Tom Lishman in
UK. Tom Lishman.
Tom Lishman is amazing.
He's the guy that does all of the little guys. He works for Warhammer and he's done other games. Yeah, it was really cool talking to him, actually, because I found him by accident on ArtStation and sent him this bleeding heart message. Oh my God, we love your work, and I pitched him the idea, and basically he responded in one word, yes, and then he sent me a follow-up email, and he was like, you had me at cats.
Right. That's
and he has just been incredible too, because he's a legit. He teaches in the UK. He teaches 3D modeling. He's worked for Games Workshop. He's done all kinds of big stuff, and then he's doing our dingy little game, and it was just awesome. It was awesome. So, but yeah, and like I was saying, we have that RPG set for the new RPG set for Phase 4 is going to be called Phase 4 Advanced. And it will still has the dials, still has the 4 life phases, the dice mechanic and character creation mechanic will change. But all of the games are going to be feats based, so there's no classes in our games. At least in the RPGs, there's no classes. Everything is feats based. So, like, for example, in one of the theme games, it's going to take place in 1930s, pre-war and during the World War II, with some occult flavor in it. And if you want to play a Indiana Jones type character, you take the feats that make you that. Abby, I think we lost you.
I bugged out. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
I am so sorry about that. I don't know what happened to my computer.
Technical difficulties happen all the time.
Would it be a live stream without a few glitches?
Right?
Yeah. Well, thanks, Abby, for letting us show you the minis.
Yeah,
those look so great. I cannot wait to see them in person and not through, a camera.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, come to Gen Con. We'll let you hold them. It will be great.
I'll hold them and I'll take many pictures of me holding all of them.
Yeah, we've actually had people like come and play the game only because they saw the minis from like across the room. Eagle-eyed people. So,
and the goal is actually to move this to crowdfunding, move it to Kickstarter, basically, early spring, March, April. Again, everything is basically dependent on delivering our first game to our backers, and that's our number one priority. But once that's done, the next major project is the board game. The good thing about it is that we've got some initial investing outside crowdfunding, so a lot of the sort of heavy lifting can be done.
It's very front loaded.
Yeah, so we're going to front load a lot of it, and so really when we're going to the Kickstarter, it's pretty much just the stage before manufacturing.
Yeah, and then we just enter directly into the stressful phase.
Yeah, and we're yellow from there on.
But that's okay. We've learned so much. We've learned so much.
Yeah. So, but I mean, like, yeah, we wouldn't have been able to get investors. We wouldn't have been able to do any of that stuff if it wasn't for, the first Kickstarter.
That's right.
I mean, so, and which we basically did on a shoestring. We had nothing. We did that Kickstarter with nothing.
We had 9 cats. We didn't even have 9 cats. We had 6 cats.
Yeah. we had very limited resources when we launched that first Kickstarter.
Not even a full Spanish set.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know what that means.
7 cats.
Oh, right. Okay. I thought it was
okay. Sorry. This is obviously not a good joke. So.
No, it wasn't.
I apologize.
All right. Well,
so future plans for the game.
Well, I'm very excited to see everything that's to come. I very much hope to see you at Gen Con if I can make it out there next year. And is there anything else that I'm forgetting before we wrap up?
No, that's great. No, I think that's it.
That's it.
If people have questions, they can email us.
Again, contact us through whatever social media
gladly
or
answer questions.
And let me see if there are any. Are there any questions there? I wasn't looking. Wow, there's so many people.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
I don't think we got any chat questions tonight.
Chat questions. Okay. I will say that you can buy the RPG,
a PDF.
The PDF of the RPG right now on Drive-Thru RPG.
Yeah.
And
if you don't want to wait, you just want to get in.
If you just want to get into it, I didn't have the video up. And the hard copy is coming. It's coming. We're dealing. We have a distribution company, Fun Again Games, and they're going to get us in some stores once our backers are fulfilled.
We love you, Fun Again.
Yeah, Fun Again Games is amazing. They've been so much of a help for us. Yeah. But they're going to get us in some stores and online outlets, and once we get those, we'll blitz them all out so people who don't have it can get it. And there's
And
so
where it
much
can
more
get.
coming for this game. It's not a one shot. I have so many expansions planned. We're gonna
Yeah.
be like Pathfinder level expansions.
His brother, actually, his younger brother, smarter brother, is
He's
working
younger
on,
and smarter, yes. He's not as good looking.
He's a zookeeper, so he does for a living. Anyways, he's working on the next supplement called Home of Meowgic, which is basically takes the Meowgic rules and expands them, just makes them epic.
Yeah, it makes it. It's we played with it this year at Gen Con. It was really dope.
We tested out Gen Con.
Katamiyamakon.
Yeah.
Katamiyamakon.
I don't know about that, but
no, that's what it's called.
I don't know. We'll talk about that. Home of Meowgic, folks.
Well,
so it's coming soon.
Well, Chimera Heads, you heard it here. There's a lot more coming from Akinji Entertainment, and I, for one, cannot wait to see it. Thank you so, so much, Shiraz and Brent, for hanging out with me tonight and talking all about Cataclysm and everything else you do. This has been absolutely amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Anytime, Abby. We love you. Thank you so much for letting
us. I love you too. We'll stay in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. Please do.
And with that, we're going to have everyone have a fantastic night. Bye-bye.